Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jean, the Digital Event Coordinator at Connecting Up and TechSoup New Zealand. We are part of the Info Exchange Group, a not-for-profit social enterprise that tackles the biggest social challenges by creating use of technology. Today, I'm very excited to welcome you to join How to Run Effective Remote Meetings with Microsoft Teams with Julia Clinch. So Julia is the Senior Consultant at Info Exchange. She's focusing on tech foundations and business intelligence within the Digital Transformation Program. This hub aims to help more than 10,000 organizations get better value from their technology investment, transform operations, and achieve measurable outcomes. Julia is a seasoned professional in the field of IT with over expertise in hybrid cloud solutions designs, LAS, and generating insights from nonprofit areas. Her previous achievements include lead technical roles for enterprise organizations in financial services, automobile, telecommunications, and utilities. She also leads transformation projects to help commercial businesses to effectively leverage the cloud, on-prem infrastructures, and reduce IT costs. So before we begin, we'll start with a bit of housekeeping. So we really encourage you to ask as many questions as possible. So please put your questions into the questions box during these sections, and Julia will get them answered by the end. And the webinar is being now recorded, and a link with the recording and presentation deck will be sent to you in 1 to 2 business days. Finally, I would really want to encourage you to help us to do a short survey at the end of the webinar so that we can provide you an even better experience in the future. All right, now I'll hand over to Julia for today's section. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jean. Such a lovely introduction, and welcome everyone. I know this is a short, sweet 30-minute webinar or lunch and learn, so let's get into it straight away. Like Jean said, we'll be answering questions at the end, so I'll try and leave as much time as possible. I'll also be doing a poll so we can understand, was this session valuable? What are you looking for the next lunch and learns around, it could be Microsoft Teams, it could be Microsoft Outlook. We really want to cater these to you. These are for you, and hopefully we can make a difference, give you some support around how to run an effective meeting in Microsoft Teams. So first of all, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land of the country and throughout Australia, and their connection to sea, land, and community. I'm coming from Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I want to extend that respect to where you're coming from, what land you're coming from. I pay respects to their elders, past and present, and extend respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. I acknowledge sovereignty was never ceded, and it always will be and always was Aboriginal land. So today, again, I know we've only got 30 minutes, so we're going to, the big part of this is the demo. So going into the demo center of Microsoft Teams and showing you the functionality and features of what Microsoft can do for remote meetings. Because as you know, during the last few years, most not-for-profits have had to move from their office locations into their home. And first of all, I just wanted to reiterate that this won't be about the etiquette of a Teams meeting. What I mean is, kind of setting rules in place of keeping yourself muted or having a video on or not. That will be deciphered, should be deciphered with your teams, and also come out of what type of meeting it is as well. So we all know that there can be variety of meetings. So one could be a one-on-one, you could have board meetings, maybe fun team meetings. So there's lots of different types of meetings. So today, just want to highlight it will be on the features and functionalities of Microsoft Teams. Actually, a quick fun fact, in April this year, Microsoft Teams has 75 million users. So that surpassed Zoom. Obviously, again, like I said, going remote working, it's just boosted the Microsoft Teams platform. But as well, personally, I've seen the progress and just the additional functionality that Microsoft just keeps coming out with Teams. So this is why we're sort of putting on this webinar, because each day there will be a new function or a new feature coming out. So we want to try and help you utilize them as best as possible. So today I'm going to show you how to set up a meeting in Outlook. This is, the most familiar way of we see people setting up meetings, and then I'll just show you how you do that in Teams. At the Hub, we do recommend utilizing the Outlook. It's got that functionality, capability that we're all familiar with. So this is why we do recommend that. And afterwards, I'll be sharing content. So how we share your presentation deck, or maybe you wanted to share an article on your meeting, or maybe just some images of your holiday. So we'll share with you how you share, and then the additional features that have recently come in that allows you to have different presenter modes. So you can have your presentation deck up, and you can be in front of your presentation deck. It's hard to explain, but I will show you. You can also have side by side. You can have a reporter mode, so you kind of going in and you can point to your slide deck and sort of walk through it just like you would if you're in a face-to-face whiteboard meeting or a presentation meeting. The fourth point there, we're going to be showing you how to add live captions. So maybe there is someone in the team, an impaired hearing or speech impediment. You want to be able to clearly communicate the words they're conveying across, or just want to ensure that everyone, some people might want the words up there to really understand what you're saying. And then we'll go into how to record a meeting as well. And I will show you where that recording is saved and how you can continue that collaboration and communication in that area. The fifth point there, and I'm hoping we get time, because like I said before, I do want to leave some time for questions. I want this to you to ask questions and then me to show you if that's something that you feel that you'd like to see today. So the meeting area, the way I explain it, you will know that you've got teams in your Teams, so a Teams area. When you're setting up meetings, if they're not linked in with that whole Teams channel, then they will be created separately in their own area. So I just wanted to identify that at the start, because when you share files within a meeting, it will actually be saving to your OneDrive. So it won't be saving in your Teams area. But the way you can kind of overcome that, the single source of truth documentation, is by sharing links to that document that would be stored in a team. And that's if everyone has access. So hopefully get time to show you that meeting area, because that comes with the chat functionality, the files where they're stored. You can have meeting notes, which is when I go into the Teams interface, up the top there will be a couple tabs. You can add a whiteboard as a tab, breakout rooms, and these are just additional functionalities. Say, for example, you were doing a planning session and you have a large group and you really wanted to break the teams up, kind of like you do in a face-to-face meeting. Well, break rooms gives you that capability to separate people, answer questions, and then come back to the main room. I'm not sure if we're going to get time to cover that, because I feel like break rooms, whiteboard, they're like its own sort of session, but I'll just briefly touch on those. And so let's get straight into the Microsoft Teams demo. All right. And hopefully you can see my screen. I'm just going to open the chat to confirm you can see my Microsoft Teams demo site.
We are seeing the PowerPoint right now, so maybe we need some time.
Thank you, Jean.
No worries.
How was that?
Yeah, that's great. Wonderful. We are seeing the
Perfect.
teams. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you're probably very familiar with this interface. It's quite a friendly interface. Just like anything, I do want to point out, even for myself, when I transitioned into Teams, it took a while for me to get comfortable with an interface like this. So, you know, taking time to just play around, and if it's possible, you know, do a little bit of testing, then I would highly recommend. So right now on the left here is lots of our activity, you know, chat, tabs where you can go to drill into that specific application. So calendar could be one. But first, what I'm going to do before I actually take you through any of the Teams interface is let's set up a meeting via Outlook. Apologies, bear with me. My screen is flashing.
No worries. Take your time. Because I do believe that Teams has got lots of functions, so I'm sure all the attendees are really interested about this topic. And just a little reminder for everyone, if you have any questions, you can always put it into the question box, and then we'll try to answer them by the end of the webinar. So there's no silly questions. Note that your questions will not be shared to the entire group, and then we'll be only one seeing the questions. So if we find that there are similar questions, we'll just combine it and then get them answered all together. So
Yes,
in the
thank you so
meantime,
much.
yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Jean. And she's right, there is no such thing as a silly question. So I'm in Outlook at the moment. I'm in my calendar app. I want to set up a meeting. You're probably very familiar with this. You click on the time that you want, or you can click on the top bar here, new meeting. There is two ways of doing it in Outlook. So this is sort of what we've always had the capability of doing. But now you may see when I go to the next one, you can see you can just click the Teams meeting link. So this one here, you go in just as you would any sort of meeting. You have a title, so subject line, you know, you need to invite someone along. So let's invite the other Julia. And the location would be online if you're having a Microsoft Teams meeting. So all you have to do is click the Teams meeting button, and it will generate this code for you. So when you send that across, all Julia has to do is click on that meeting link there. I'll send that in, so it's in our testing, and then I'll show you what that looks like in our Microsoft Teams. So just quickly before I jump back into Teams, you've got this button here, which is, you know, making that more seamless for us users or humans that, you know, our attention span, we want everything sort of right now. So now we've got the convenience to set up a meeting like that. So very similar. It just does the links for you straight away. We'll head back over to Teams and I'll show you where that meeting invite has. I'll go back into Teams. Great. So now if we go into our calendar tab down the side here, we should be able to see the meeting we just set up. So it's called subject. Here we can now click into it and attend the meeting or be the host of the meeting. I know I'd said I was going to quickly show you in Teams how to set up set up a meeting, so do the same thing. Similarly, you can click the new meeting button up here. I just want to highlight that there is 2 options. The webinar one just came out. It's similar to your normal meeting, but it has the functionality of creating a registration page. So we'll click a new meeting, and again, you add a title, subject, you invite your participants who's coming along, who needs to be there. And for this one, this actually automatically creates Microsoft Teams. So you don't need to click any buttons because you're within the Teams application. You just need to make sure you have an attendee and send, and it should create that second meeting there. So that is how to set up a meeting via Outlook and Microsoft Teams. If you have any questions, just feel free to pop it in the chat. So now, now we are going to show how to share contact in a Teams meeting. So I'm going to join the Teams meeting that I've just created. So by clicking on that link. A really cool thing about Teams is it gives you the functionality to prepare yourself. And I'm hoping you can still see my screen. Change this button if you can't. This is so your maybe you want to just check how your hair's looking, or maybe check your audio, which is always handy, your video. This I'm calling it a pre-configuration, preamble before your meeting is there. So I can turn on my camera, again, add, if I wasn't sharing Google Webinar Meet, I would be able to show you my camera, but it is currently, actually I might turn off my camera so I can then show you what I look like here and how I can change some background features. So again, preamble to your meeting, maybe having a fun team meeting and you want to jazz it up with a cool background, you just click background features here and we'll add some confetti. And you can, have a bit of fun with this. Maybe I've seen my colleagues get a photo of their pets up in the background, and I think it's just a super fun way to connect and collaborate. Like, we are remote, you don't get that sort of face-to-face interaction and energies when we're together. So really cool little functionality here. And just down on the right side, it's your audio. So maybe you have a phone audio you want to connect to, you've got the computer audio. You can click on these 2 little lines with the dots and select your speakers or select your microphones, and it allows you to do a test on that as well. So when you're here, you can test. And then we can get ready for the meeting. So let's join. Now I want to share with the team the presentation deck that we just had up. So up the top here, we've got most of, all our functionality. If you hover over each icon, it actually allows you to see what that is. So that's a really cool thing about Microsoft Teams. But right now, we're just going to show the sharing content capability. So sharing content is the white box with the arrow. Let's go. So Microsoft Teams have actually implemented a lot of new functionality with this, some of it just being super incredible. So you can see here at the top, we've got presenter mode, and that's what I was mentioning before, where you could have a side-by-side to your presentation deck and to your camera, or you can have a reporter view, so you've got your presentation deck and you're actually in front of your presentation, you can point to it. I'll take you through that in a moment, but first of all, we're actually going to just share our presentation deck. So down here, we've got screen and we've got windows. So your windows is what you have open on your computer. So we click here, I've got I had Outlook open before, so you can click that one there. I've had my calendar up. I've had the other Microsoft Teams, the calendar in Microsoft Teams up at the moment, but I want the PowerPoint slide deck. So we'll click this one here, and voila, we've got the PowerPoint presentation up. Okay, but so a lot of the time we get this box. You can minimize it, so you have that just full screen. But if you're wondering, okay, but where do I go back to Zoom? Hover at the top here. You can use these functions for different presenter modes and stop presenting and then start presenting instead of having to go back into the Teams to stop presenting. What I like to do is pin it at the top here so I don't have to go over and hover over it. So I'll have to put my camera on just because I wanted to show you what it looks like to present with the different presenter modes. So my camera, it's on now. I'm going to put my presentation deck in presenter mode so it's that full screen. And I just want to say here what I do recommend when you are doing
I'm sorry, Julia, to interrupt. So it looks like the screen is freeze now. So would you mind to have a look?
Yeah,
so we are seeing the screen is waiting for others to join. Yep, it looks good now. We are now seeing the Teams screen.
Teams. Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Great. Thank you.
So thank you. So I guess sometimes it's tricky when you're on a webinar and then demoing a webinar platform. So apologies for that. Usually it goes a bit more seamlessly. I know I've only got a couple minutes left, so I'm just going to show you how I share in that presenter mode, and then we'll kick into questions. I've got a poll quickly as well. I feel like half an hour is it just flies by. So going back into, we'll go back into sharing content. Oh, if I can get rid of this GoToWebinar. There we go. I'm hoping you can see me on the screen. So we'll share the content again. Going into that PowerPoint, let's show it here. And then I'm going to show you these presenter modes. So it looks like the screen is being paused again. So another window is on top of your shared application.
Sorry, Julia, the screen is a bit freeze again.
Yeah.
Take your time, no worries.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm not going to put that in presenter mode because I have a feeling that might be the cause. Let's go back to Microsoft Teams and let's join the webinar again. Once we have the webinar up, or our meeting up, I should say, sorry, I'm going to share that content again. Fingers crossed it doesn't pause or go blue.
Now we are seeing you, thanks.
Thank you. So I'll just share my window again. Hopefully this one works. And looks like it's going blue again. So I might just turn off my camera. Okay, so it doesn't want to allow me to share my PowerPoint while I'm sharing my screen on GoToWebinar. And I'm assuming this is just because we're using the two cross platforms. So this shouldn't happen when you're in Microsoft Teams. But that sharing capability and the tab at the very top, I'm just going to show myself here because I am gesturing hands. And actually move back to my Microsoft PowerPoint instead due to the functionality at the moment. So I'll show my webcam. So Microsoft Teams, you're in the meeting, you're sharing your content. At the very top where I pinned that toolbar, they had 4 different presentation modes. So when you're sharing your presentation deck or your article or an email and you want to be in front, like me, it cuts you out. You want to be in front of that email so you can point to it, or just have that professional sort of capability of someone seeing you, but they're also seeing the content as well. So that they've got that one's called Reporter, and they've got the other presenter mode, which is side by side. So as it mentions, side by side, you've got you here and your presentation deck here. It actually gives you a really cool background you can change too, but it just makes that real professional sort of function, and kind of giving off what we don't have for remote working, what we did have in the face-to-face meetings to move to remote meetings. And we've also got the Reporter side by side, and yeah, that's the 2 main presenter modes. And so that is initially what I wanted to share you on the sharing content. It is a really cool functionality, so I really wish I could show you on the demo. So hopefully next time we can figure out maybe just using Microsoft Teams as our webinar platform, and then that might fix the sort of sharing capability we had there today. I know I wanted to show you the live captions, the recording, but again, we're going to do these Lunch and Learn webinars continually, so we'll come back. But if you want that that information right away, I can show you a step-by-step on how to do that with some screenshots, so you and your team can go away and actually use those features and functions. So apologies again for the issues with sharing today. Not what we wanted, but that's okay. So I've got a slide up at the moment. I just wanted to show you as well some of the layout views that they allow you to have in Teams. So if you've got a ton of people and you want to get that sort of maybe auditorium look, they've got that in gallery view, but you do have to have 9+ people. And I think it goes up to 54. So, with the Zoom, it kind of became quite known and trendy that you have 54 participants on the gallery view. That is also an option in Microsoft Teams as well. So you've got this one here with a cool background. It's called Together We Can mode. You can do a background of people in a conference. So it doesn't change for others, but it changes your screen. So if you're someone that is very visual and you want other people to look like they're in the conference meeting with you, then you can give them a conference meeting background, which I think is super cool. So again, we're going to probably show more of this functionality on our next Lunch and Learn, but we do want to hear from you what you'd like to see. So Jean, can you kick off the first poll, and then we'll go into the second, and then after that straight into questions.
No worries. So let me put up the poll right now.
Thank you.
All right, so the first one is, what Teams meeting functionality was most helpful? So the first one is how to set up meeting. Second is sharing content. Third is presenter mode. Fourth is meeting features, for example, captions. And the fifth one is the apps, for example, whiteboards. So please select the answers, and then we'll share the results right after this. All right, I'm seeing the voting numbers is increasing, 50%, 65%. So let's give everyone a couple of seconds.
And again, I know we didn't get to the last two, so again, apologies.
No worries. So, Julia, can you also see the poll together?
I can, yes. Have you, I
View.
can't see the answers of yet.
Yeah, cool. All right, so about 80% voted, so I guess we can share the results now. So let me close the poll and share. Do you want me to share the results?
Amazing. So I can see if you would like others, yeah, let's share the results.
Yeah, all right. So that's about 35% is interested. Most helpful is the how to set up meeting, the first one. And pretty much the same as sharing the content. So the first two are the most helpful one. And the third one is the presenter mode, about 30%. And there's 0% for the fourth and the fifth.
Fair enough. Fantastic. Thanks so much, Trina. And I'll just click to the next poll just so we get an idea of what we want to do next. So I know today wasn't as seamless as we like to show you the other capability because there's so much, but again, we're going to continually do these lunch and learn so you can get the most out of Microsoft Teams. So what training on Microsoft Teams would you like to see next? That could be the meeting features. So again, that's, you know, the live captions, the recording. We didn't get to go through those. So do you want to see those? Do you want to see how you share files within team meetings, where they're accessed after, and how you can collaborate with that functionality? Would you like to see communication within Teams, how you chat to your colleagues, how you at them, so at their name to keep that real remote collaboration communication going? Would you like to see the default app? So I didn't mention this before, but there is Planner, so it's kind of like a project planner. You can add it into Microsoft Teams areas to create, you know, sort of project plans for, you know, when you're on a fundraising event and you want to keep that planning going, or even forms, which is you create forms like quizzes or polls or other things that you may have thought about already that you want to see. And feel free to pop those in the chat as well.
All right, so we just share the poll's results. So it's pretty much head-to-head for the first two. The meeting features and file collaboration are the most that people want to know for the next one. We have 32%. And the second one comes to the default apps, the planner and forms, about 23%. And finally is the communication.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for participating in those polls. I have my email in the presentation deck. So when Jean sends that across, please don't hesitate to reach out. Just if there is no such thing as a silly question, but just I'm happy to have a chat. I love using Teams and I love sharing the capability of Teams and how it can definitely make a difference when you're working from home. And, you know, setting up meetings. So please don't hesitate to reach out, put more questions. I'll put your questions in the chat right now if you have any. I'm happy to answer them live straight away, or if you want to come off mute, I'd love to hear your voice.
Yeah, thank you very much, Julia. So we got a couple of questions. I'll just combine some questions due to the time. So we have we have Angela here. So she's asking, what's the difference between Teams Live and Teams Webinar?
So Teams Live is just a standard meeting. And the webinar functionality is giving you that additional registration page. So maybe for next time you will see when you sign up to this Teams webinar, you might see the registration link in Teams rather on, for example, Connecting App. So you register, it just gives you that capability to register. And when people do, you can have a list of all the attendees. So it's kind of skipping the platform of hosting your event somewhere, if that makes sense, or your webinar somewhere. You can do that via Teams, and yeah, send that registration page to people who want to attend the event. I hope that makes sense. I can clarify it a bit more.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that's very clear. And Jeffrey is asking, so when we can do the background for the teams, can we do like video or GIF background instead of just static?
Absolutely. So not all GIFs work. So there is some format limitations. But if you go on Google and just look up Zoom, Teams, GIFs, or team background videos, you most definitely can. But just so you know, there can be sometimes limitations to if you've got a video that you want to share, sometimes it might not be able to work just because of the size of it or the format of it.
Yes, absolutely. And we got a question asking, that's a really good question. Can we set up a meeting so that not everyone can see who's invited, like BCC, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is, I showed you the teams, there is a settings within your team meetings. When you set up a team meeting, you can go into the settings area, and it won't, so it's more so on who can see, like the attendees who can see. But when you send that invite across, like Jean said, BBC, so people don't see who's invited, but then there's the other capability of you can see who's attending or not. You can hide the participants, the attendees or participants. Yeah, both are the same. So
No worries. So we got a couple more. So May is having a question about he cannot, it looks like his Outlook doesn't have the Teams button. Will that be a version problem, or is he need any update on the Outlook?
yeah, so that is dependent on how the organization has set that up. Usually when you're in 365, it gives you that capability, and 365 is just the Microsoft in the cloud. So I would suggest just talking to your IT provider or whoever set that up in your organization, because I'm sure there's a way of getting that into your Outlook. I'm not sure how that works, but there's most definitely ways you can do that.
Yeah, totally. So I hope that answered your question, Ming. So Margaret is asking, so when we set up a meeting directly in Teams, will that be showing in the Outlook calendar as well automatically?
Absolutely. Yeah, they will cross-pollinate, is what I like to say. And I should have shown you that, but yeah, when you set it up in Outlook, it will show in Teams. If you set it up in Teams, it will save in Outlook.
Yeah, that's the fantastic part of Teams, isn't it?
Yeah, this is why it's become so, widely used, because of the integration with your other Microsoft Office products, and just the continuing updates and of the functionality.
Totally. So I guess we got one more questions here. So do we put a channel in the MS Team invites? I saw it's included in that options.
Is that was that general? Did you say the general
Yeah, I guess
channel?
it's about the when you said we can put online if the place that it is online. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know when you create a new team, it will always create a general channel by default. It does give you the capability, if you don't want that there, you can get rid of it. You can change the name. Usually we do recommend having that general channel because it's we use it a lot here in our team collaborations. It's the sort of the core area where people come to ask general questions and get general advice about things. So, but you can most definitely change that there.
Yes, lovely. Thank you very much for this. And then we got couples of friends saying thank you from Angela Gariana. Thank you, Julia, for the amazing presentation. They find this is really, really useful.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, apologies again for the sharing issue, but we will have more of these and we really appreciate your feedback. So please, if you've got any more, just send it through. You know, we're there on the hub as well. So if you want us to, you know, maybe you've got a large team that wants a dedicated Microsoft Team demo, more than happy to come do that to the team as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out, and I really appreciate you joining me. I know it was short and sharp, but we'll keep these coming.
Yes, it's amazing. It's short and sweet, and it's really practical. So finally, Fiona is asking, how often do we have these sections? I guess we have another one next week, isn't it?
Yeah, so the next one will be around collaborating in teams. So that's looking at, you know, where your files are stored, how you can, yeah, communicate in your team areas. We might quickly touch on the planner app as well. So how you create that and then, you know, start working inside that area. Yeah, so that one's next Monday on the 22nd at 12 p.m. again. And
Yeah.
then we are holding off for a little while until next year. We've got, yeah, three more coming. So watch this space.
That's amazing. And then I can also share the registration link for next week events so that all of you can attend again because it will be another topic. And you'll be receiving the recording and presentation deck in 1 to 2 business days. So hope that's answered your questions, Fiona. All right, so before we finish, do you have anything to add? Because I'm going to show a little bonus for the LinkedIn events.
Amazing. No, that's it from me. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time, and please don't hesitate to reach out.
Lovely. Thank you, Julia, again. So as you can see the screen right now, so it's a Mastering LinkedIn series. So it is like a little credit for you have already joined this lovely events. So we wish you to have a little bonus for that. So Mastering LinkedIn series is a 4 sections, 4 weeks events. It's not only just telling you how to create the profile. It's actually how to enrich your profile, improve it, to grow your networks, as well as to use it in your business, in your organizations. So I would say it is a very practical and very useful event that you can join. We are happy to provide you like a discount code with the $50 off. So all this information will be shown in the follow-up email as well. If you're interested to join, don't hesitate and then just click the register button in the email. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you again, Julia, for your lovely presentation. So we hope to see you all next week for next week event next Monday. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.